Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Marvel Legendary, let's talk about this. This is a very, very hard game to discuss because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with this review. This is probably one of my top 2 favorite games, Carson City and Marvel Legendary. Marvel Legendary is a game I really, really like. And I've had some great memories. I used to have these friends I used to game with all the time. For over a decade we would game, and Marvel Legendary was his favorite game. So every time an expansion came out, I would send him a screenshot of the box, because he wasn't really into games, but he really liked Marvel Legendary, and he would get really excited about playing it. So every time an expansion would come out, we'd be able to play it, and it brought a lot of joy to our gaming sessions for somebody who really wasn't into games, but he loved this game. And that really elevates a game to you with the experiences that you have with it, and I had those with Marvel Legendary. On top of it, my family loves the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We love Marvel. We like superheroes, and it goes over really well with my kids, my family, my friends. And Marvel Legendary is just a game I feel like I can pull out with nearly anyone. Now, I play the game cooperative. We don't really do the semi-co-op where we're trying to take points from everybody, which I know makes the game a little bit easier for us, but we don't care. We're having a good time, and that's how we prefer to play the game. But the way the game is played, it is semi-co-op. We're all getting points, and then we all might win, but whoever has the most points wins the most, I suppose, or is the ultimate winner. We don't really play that. We just try to beat the bad guy. And I think as the difficulty has ratcheted up in the game, I feel like that is the preferred method, or the method that works for us. So be it. Sue me and yell at me all you want, but that's how we play the game. This game has a lot of expansions, a lot to bring into this game. And as the Encounter series has come out for Legendary, people have kind of maybe turned towards that because it does give you something extra. But the variety you can get in Marvel Legendary, even in just the core box, is quite wonderful. I love the schemes, and this is what puts it above the DC Comics one to me, is the schemes, how every game plays a little bit differently. Not only do I have a different set of heroes, different mastermind, I have a different scheme, and there's something that we're trying to do. Our win and lose condition is different based on which one of those that we put, and different combinations of that can make the difficulty go up or down. It's always just fun to experiment with this game and try new things. I like it quite a bit. The fact that you're not controlling one superhero doesn't bother me at all. In this day and age, with the Avengers and the Captain America Civil War, and all the movies that are just bringing all the superheroes together anyway, I feel like that isn't as much of a negative as it once was, perhaps when the game was first released, when everybody was used to just getting their Superman movie, and this is a Batman movie, and this is an Aquaman movie, and this is a Thor movie, and none of them mix. I feel like with this, mixing all up, I feel like I am taking care of the Avengers or the X-Men as a team rather than any individual hero. I just think that's fun that you're going out and you're fighting, Vulture right here, and then you're coming back, and then my opponent may send out the same guys or a different combination to go fight Vulture, and it's fun. Yes, in some of these things, it's a card game, it's a deck builder, so you gotta kind of squint that, yes, things don't make sense. It's not as incoherent as the DC comics, where Superman might have the Batmobile, some silliness like that. You're just a combination of heroes, and you're going out and you're fighting bad guys as they come. I like this game a lot. I feel like this is the deck builder. And when I put deck builders up, this is by far my favorite. I do like deck builders that are part of a game, something like Copycat, where it's a part of a game. But for a full-on deck builder, I feel like there's a lot of interesting things going on here with the villains coming out, all the different villains and henchmen, and all the little things you can add to it. The variety just means so much to me. Now, if this game didn't have variety, I think that the core box would be enough, and I feel like it would be very interesting, but the expansions are part of the experience, and what I would recommend finding out who your favorite superheroes are, and adding it. If you're like Ant-Man, then there's an Ant-Man one. If you're like Spider-Man, there's a Spider-Man. There's even some box sets that include the MCU from the Cinematic Universe, which is really cool to add to the game. By far, my top 1 or 2 games, I probably like this just as much as Carson City. If I'm pushing to shove, they're probably my 2 favorite games. So this one I really, really, really love that much. If you haven't played it in a while, I would tell you to go back and play it. If you haven't played it a lot, which I'm by no means an expert at this game. You could be 10 times better than me, but I have fun playing it. I like the superheroes. I like the artwork included in it. When the game first came out, there were some questions about the artwork being repeated, and they fixed that. It feels like Upper Deck has really listened to people, and this is one of the greatest board gaming series that's ever been created. Marvel Legendary is the first deck builder I would go to. If you're new to gaming, it's a little bit here. You need somebody to kind of run it, which I can normally do with new gamers, and they're able to pick up what's going on really, really quickly. Now, if you have somebody who You have 5 cards you can buy, and they have to read every single thing, and an AP. I think there should be some AP in this. It's never been the case with people that I've played, but the game gets harder with more people. With 2, it's easier than it is with 4. That 4th person, or even that 5th person, it's going to get a little bit weaker. But I love this game. It's one I highly recommend. I think every gamer should have it. Marvel Legendary is a keeper! Here is Marvel Legendary, which is my #1 game of all time. I've never reviewed it. You can see the great superheroes, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, Wolverine, and Captain America on the front. And you can see Magneto right here on the side and Loki. When you open it up, you're going to get a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few. This is going to be your board, which I'll open up in a second. Then you're going to see your cards. Now, for the most part, you're going to get these dividers here, which are very generic. Never understood why they went so cheap. Something like Smash Up is so much better and well done. But you can see it doesn't really take up that much space in here. You can put a lot of the expansions that were forthcoming when this was released, and now it's humongous how much stuff. It doesn't even fit in this box any longer. So you can see the cards through here that you have. You're going to have heroes. Now, one of the complaints in this one is you're going to see reoccurring artwork. The artwork is the same over and over and over again, which is not going to which really upset some people at the time. They've since fixed that with some of the expansions, but that's how it is here. And the cards are really good quality. The ones I use all the time, I sleeve because I play this game so much. And it's a deck builder, so you're constantly shoveling these up. And here you see Storm. The same artwork used for all the cards. The colors in the cards is blue and red. There's our powerful one, but for the most part the same. Overall, I gotta say I really like the components in here. It is a game I had to sleeve because I play this game so darn much. Let's take a look at this board. I actually really like the board. There's a Neurofreen one that came out later that I actually like better because cards can be a little bit hard to pick up on a board. But there is a place for everything. You're going to have the city and headquarters, shield cards, mastermind. The KO part is not really big enough, but you do have setup over here, and you have turn order up there. So it's a pretty nice board, actually. It's not that bad. Once you kind of learn the game, it really helps things out. Do you have to have a board? No, this is the kind of game you could probably play without a board, but it's very much appreciated. I would upgrade to the mouse pad kind. I like it a little bit better than this one, but when this was released, this was what was expected. Very good job. I have to say I like the components. I love this game. Here's the rule book. You're going to see the artwork from the front. Then you're going to have an overview. Now, the rules are okay. This might be where the game lets it down a little bit, but it does take the time to go through everything. Overview, how to win, how the mastermind can win, and a setup for your first game, which is much appreciated. Here is setup. It kind of goes through, tells you what you should use for the number of players. There's a picture of the board with all the cards in their places, very much. Now, this is where we're going to get into a little bit more description of what the cards do and what they are. Your setup, your stacks, your masterminds, how to get the schemes. There is a little bit of setup and takedown with this game, to be very honest with you, and how your hero decks are made up. On your turn, how you play, how villains enter, and if necessary, how they move off. How the ambush effect, and a little bit more just about how some of those cards will be able to move. You can already tell we're on page 11 already, so there's quite a bit of rules in here. This is what I would say a higher level deck building game. How to recruit cards and how they work. How the masterminds work, which are the people that you're trying to defeat, the big bad guys, if you will. And then this section right here, which is really appreciated, is additional rules. KOing, gaining cards, wounds, how do they work? So this is where you would go if you're trying to reference something that really isn't a turn feature, but how does a card effect work? This will be the place. The classes and heroic teams that are included. Adjusting difficulty, you definitely can make this game harder. Now, some of the expansions that come out really rack it up. This is probably the easiest for you to play it, but there's a challenge mode here on how to play, and a solo mode with scoring, and a final showdown optional, which I always use this rule every time I play. Thumbs up for the rule book. You know, if you're not used to it, you may struggle a little bit, but I really do like this rule book quite a bit. So the first thing you're going to do is create your masterminds. You have 4 to choose from in this base game. You're going to have Red Skull. You're going to have Magneto. You're going to have Doctor Doom. And finally, Loki. And you're going to pick one. When you do, you're going to get a 5-card set. In this case, we'll just take Red Skull. You always have this card on top, which tells you who he's leading and the Master Strike they would have, and how much energy it would take to kill him with this victory point. You take the 4 cards behind him, you shuffle these up, and when you take one randomly when you beat him, there'll be something there that will happen. In the optional rules, you have to beat, well, in the regular rules, you beat all 4 of these. With the optional rules, you'd also beat this 5th card. Now, to create your villain deck, you're going to have to choose one of the henchmen. There are 4 to choose from. In each mastermind, like Dr. Doom would take the Doombots with him always, so be wary of that. So you have the Doombots, which are 3, the Sentinels, which are also 3, the Savage Land Mutants, which are a set, and the Hand Ninjas. If you look here, when you fight them, they all do something different. The Hand Ninjas give you an extra star when you fight them. The Mutants, when you draw a new hand of cards, you get to draw an additional card. So you'll include a number of these henchmen in the villain deck based on the number of players that will be included. These will be shuffled in. Also included in those will be the Master Strike cards. And when one of these are pulled out, you will do the Master Strike ability of the Mastermind. You will also be able to choose villains that will come out. Now keep in mind, some Masterminds may have to include certain villains. So here, you're going to have Hydra. So with Red Skull, you would always keep Hydra. And you're going to see different villains that will be included in here. The artwork does repeat sometimes, as you can see there. But there'll be different cards in here. So Hydra is one. You're going to have the Brotherhood, which is more of your X-Men type. The Frost Giants, which will always be included with Loki. You're going to have the Radiation, which includes Abomination, the Leader, Zax, and Maestro. The Skrulls, the Shapeshifters, the Skrulls, the Power Skrull, and the Super Skrull. Those will be included as a villain set. You have the Spidey foes, which include Villain, the Lizard, the Green Goblin, and Doc Ock. And so he'll always be going against Spider-Man. So those are the villains. So there's 6 different villains that you can choose from based on the number of players. So for example, in a 3-player game, you'll choose 3 of the villain decks, 1 the henchman deck, you had 8 bystanders, and you'll include 5 heroes, which I'll get into right now. And finally, the last one would be the Masters of Evil, which is Whirlwind, Ultron, Melter, and Baron Zemo. These will be one of the villains you can choose from. Now, normally if you're playing between 2 and 4, you'll choose 5 heroes, and you'll shuffle those cards together. In a 5-player game, you will choose 6. So here are the heroes that you will have to choose from. For representing the Avengers, you're going to have Black Widow, which you'll have a deck of cards for her. You will have Hawkeye. Who doesn't want to be Hawkeye in a board game? Captain America, my favorite comic book hero. So he'll be included with the Avengers. And you can always see their little symbol up here in the top left. Iron Man's included. You can see his symbol up here. And you would take his deck of cards. And finally, with the Avengers, we have the Mighty Thor. That will be included. And you can't forget the Incredible Hulk. So those are the Avengers that you're going to have in this deck. You're going to get 1 Spidey. So he'll be kind of on his own. He's the only one that's going to have the Spidey symbol on it for the good guys. But you can have a Spider-Man deck included. You also will get Deadpool, very famous. This is before the movie came out. He will actually have no affiliation with anybody. He's on his own. Representing S.H.I.E.L.D., you're going to have Nick Fury. He'll be off on his own. And this is probably around the time period of the first movie, if you can tell some of the villains that are, or the heroes that are included. Finally, you're going to have the X-Men. So you're going to have Rogue, that will be included. You're going to have their leader, Cyclops, that will be included. Emma Frost coming off, Days of Future Past. You're going to have Storm. She will be showing up. Gambit be included, as will the hero and very popular Wolverine. Now, when you're choosing 5 of your heroes, you do not have to choose like all Avengers or X-Men. You can mix and match whoever you want. And the way the game will be set up, you're just going to take your 5 heroes, shuffle the deck together, and then you'll put some of these cards out that will come up, and some of them may repeat. But you're going to put 5 cards across the bottom here, all shuffled up. When you set up the game, you're going to have 8 of these Shield Agent cards, and you will have 4 of these Shield Trooper cards. Trooper cards will give you scratch, and the Agent cards will give you stars, which you can use to purchase cards. What you'll do is you'll shuffle these up, and you'll draw a hand of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you'll be ready to go. You flip these over and look at what you have. So in this case, I have 6 Shield Agents, which is $6 to spend. I can spend $6 on any of these heroes, and let's say I want to spend $6 on this Nick Fury. I would put him and the cards I use to purchase him in my discard pile for later use. Now that I'm out of cards, I would draw an additional card that would go into the hero deck now, and it would be the next player's turn. Remember, at the beginning of somebody's turn, a new card will come out, pushing these all the way through. If a card ever gets pushed off, there is a consequence for that. They get to KO a card in this hero deck. Remember, this hero deck runs out, you lose the game. If the villain deck ever runs out, you also lose the game. You win by defeating the mastermind. So the whole point of the game is to buy these more powerful cards, try to get these cheaper ones out of your hand, and save the day for the superheroes. What's going to make this game interesting in particular are these scheme cards. And each game you're going to choose one of these schemes and do what it says. So for example, if you want to go to Negative Zone Prison Breakout, you will add 8 twists and add an extra henchman group to the villain deck. The twists, every time they come out, so you're going to put a number of these twists in the villain deck. And every time they come out, you're going to do what it says here. Play the top 2 cards of the villain deck in order for evil to win if 12 of the villains escape. So each of these are going to be very different. Midtown Bank Robbery. Add 8 twists, 12 total bystanders in the villain deck. Each villain gets +1 for each bystander it has. Any villain in the bank captures 2 bystanders, then play the top card of the villain deck. That's if a twist comes out. But evil wins when 8 bystanders are carried away by escaping villains. This game has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different schemes. Every expansion that comes out has plenty of these. This is what's going to change the game up. So there's a lot of variety in this game with the schemes, the masterminds, the henchmen, the villains, the heroes that you use. It's always going to be a lot of variety to this game. You always got to play to that scheme. Whatever scheme you're using, you really need to play to it and try to attack that mastermind as quickly and as violently as you can. This is an extremely great game. I hope that I've done a good enough job just giving you the basics of the game. It's a deck builder. I'm sure you've played a deck builder at this time, but it's a deck builder with a great story, one that I highly recommend. It is Marvel Legendary. Who should buy this game? Every single gamer and non-gamer on the planet. That's how much I like the game. But in reality, if you like deck building, you like the Marvel Universe, you like superheroes, and you want a game that you can expand and build on, and you get these little box expansions. There's bigger boxes, there's small boxes, and you can keep adding to it and keep the game fresh. It's hard to go wrong with Marvel Legendary. I know the system is aging a little bit. Perhaps it's been updated with encounters, but I still like this version a lot. It's clean. I like the way that it works. I like everything about this game. This game is a rare 10 for me, one I would tell you to go out and buy. And if you're not going to buy it, at least go out and try it. Come back and tell me if you liked it or not. Marvel Legendary, one of my top 2 favorite games of all time, if not my favorite game of all time. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel, lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing.